Welcome back to DR Sports. Myself, AGT, and Arsenal fan Nick Francis in the studio again. We did this last week, didn't we?
We did indeed, yeah. Better result last week.
It was not the result that Arsenal fans wanted tonight. It ends at the Etihad. Manchester City 1, Arsenal 0. It's the fourth defeat for Arsenal this season, which, when you consider how many games have been played, very impressive. Let us know in the comments your thoughts on the games. We've done a poll before the game. 45% of you thought Arsenal would win that. 42% thought City. But it was Nathan Ake with the winning goal, Nick.
Yeah, it was close. It was a really well taken goal from Nathan Ake. I think we made the more significant changes from our starting lineup. They made one or two changes, and we know about the depth of their squad. And the changes that we made, you could clearly see the people that were not starting 11 players, especially when Partey goes off for Lokonga in the second half. There's some good chances early on, but just the press in from Lokonga, Fabio Vieira, you could just see that they're a level, maybe even two levels below the starting 11, and that's just where we lose it in those crucial moments. So
it was a very entertaining game, to be fair. In the first half, there's an argument to say Arsenal could have been 1 or 2 up. Ortega with some great saves from Tomiyasu, from Trossard as well, who impressed. And then, like you said, all that momentum, all that kind of let's take the game to City. You take Partey off. You know, they get a shot with Alvarez, it hits the post, and all of a sudden the half-time just changes everything. Do you think that's a lack of confidence, or is that Arteta maybe preserving the squad?
I think it's Arteta preserving the squad, and I think based on how we played in the first half, you know, I love Mikel Arteta. I'm not, going to bash him too much, but I do think that's maybe a bit of a mistake from him going weaker than needed. Perhaps if we start with our starting 11, we can go and take the game to them, be 1 or 2 up by half time, and then we could bring these players on to see the game out. As opposed, we do have a full week's rest and recovery before our next league game, so perhaps that was a mistake. But if we're going to pick a game to lose, we never want to lose any games. So if I'm going to pick one to lose, this is the one I would have chosen to lose. So it's not the end of the game, but not the end of the world. Sorry, it is the end of the game. But I think the way it happened was frustrating. But there's some huge positives we can take as well, AGT, into the league games based on the performance of the two teams. You know, I think that we'll be confident with our first starting 11 to go and play, especially at the Emirates.
Yeah, the levels really, for me, obviously you had 7 changes in the team, so there was naturally a drop in quality. But for me, I didn't look at Arsenal and think anything bad, really. They played well, maybe just on average, if you look at the XG and if you all that stuff, maybe City edged it, but Arsenal can come away with that, as you said, with some positives to take. But for Man City, they're into the 5th round now for the 8th time in a row. Is it theirs to lose now if you're a City fan?
I think so. I think obviously they've got the league. They're still in Europe. They've got, they'll want some sort of trophy, some sort of silverware.
Is there an argument to say this is their best chance of silverware this season?
100% on balance of the quality of the opposition, I think you'd have to say so. And I think just to your point of how the balance of the game and how big a chance it was for Arsenal to win it, the player of the match has been given to Nathan Ake, and I gave it to the goalkeeper because I thought he was really outstanding. The distribution, the saves, brave. I thought their goalkeeper was class, and that tells you if their goalkeeper and left back are the two best players, and that tells you a lot. Given
and they don't
all
even
of
start.
Nathan Ake is a starter.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, the goalkeeper's not even
nailed on left back.
100%. Yeah, it's not even his natural position. So that tells you everything you need to know, really.
But Man City, maybe we can ask this one in the poll: is the FA Cup, or what trophy is the most likely that Man City can win? I would argue it is the FA Cup. Champions League, we know that they're going to give it a bloody good go, but they haven't won it yet. There's no guarantees.
That's the one they want, though, isn't it?
Of course it is.
That's the one that Pep wants.
It's the one they want the most, as they should, seeing as they've never won it. But the league as well. What is it? 8 points behind Arsenal at the minute.
Yeah. I think 5.
Is it
behind,
5 now?
But I think we have a game in hand.
There you go. That's probably why I said the 8.
Yeah.
Because you probably will win that. But I would say, maybe the FA Cup is their best chance of silverware this season. I could be very wrong, but let me know in the comments if you agree. And Liverpool, ? Says German chicken wing. Probably nothing. If you want to go there, mate. Probably nothing.
You've won your fair share.
Well, to be fair, we've already won a trophy this season.
What trophy is that?
Community Shield. Major honour, factually.
Let's
get back to this game, though. At the start, as I said, Arsenal definitely took it to City. They were aggressive. Shots from range, which I always like to see.
Yep.
Trossard, let's talk about him. I mean, You mentioned at the end of the game that you'd love to see Trossard and Martinelli both starting or on the same pitch together. What does he bring to Arsenal that maybe you didn't have before?
Well, the difference between Martinelli and Saka, if we start there, Martinelli for me is the guy that gets the ball. He's less of a refined player than Saka. Saka's a great pass and move player, what you'd expect from an Arsenal Academy graduate. Martinelli's much more direct, but with that directness comes a little bit of rashness as well. Trossard is the best of both, I think. He is very, very direct. Every time he gets the ball, same as the Man United game, as soon as he gets the ball, he runs straight at the defender, says, come and get me, come and stop me, or I'm going to get past you, which we don't really have in Saka. We have that more in Martinelli. But having the two of them on the pitch together at some point, I think would be really, really exciting and would bother both fullbacks. Whenever we play, there's always one side which is more direct than the other. I think our left side is more direct with Martinelli, and our right side has more pass and move, kind of pure football, if you like, with Saka linking up with other players. But Trossard just brings that experience, I think. You know, he's played at top level. He's played internationally for a long time. You know, Martinelli's still on the climb up. He's still ramping up his career. Trossard just seems like somebody that just walks in and does it straight away. And I also made the assessment that other than Zinchenko and Gabi Jesus, we don't tend to buy from the Premier League that often. Yeah. Lots of the players that we buy are from abroad. Xhaka, Partey, you know, all of these players, Pepe, they're all from abroad. So to go and get people that have experience of playing in the Premier League, you can see what that does for our team. Yeah,
speaking on City, there's a couple of comments here saying that City weren't great. Tommy here says we were crap and still won. Slapped again, City till I die. Alec Johnson, big up to you. Saka was in Ake's pocket. Talking about their main man, Haaland, were you impressed with his performance today? I mean, it was a bit Route 1 at times. And is there now, are we... Listen, he's still easily the best player this season. The man scored 30 goals. But that's what I was going to ask along those lines anyway. Is it obvious now what they're going to look to do when he's on the pitch?
I think so. I was really surprised to see them playing Haaland in over the top. A lot of Route 1 football, like you said. We think of City as this slick, refined team. They've got a midfield of Rodri, Kevin De Bruyne, Gundogan. You're expecting the ball to get driven through on the floor. And it was all in the air, which does give, Haaland's pretty quick and he's going to be quicker than most fullbacks. And if you put the ball in the air, you're giving him and the fullback an equal chance of getting it. Whereas if you slide it along the floor, he's probably going to have the advantage. And obviously he was up against the great Rob Holding, a generational centre-back, £2 million from Bolton. So
got a yellow against Haaland and had to come off at half-time.
It's customary, I think. He's so rash, and again, levels between the starting and the bench players. But yeah, I don't... it's strange. Even though Arsenal's where they are, we still don't really think of Arsenal yet as a top team until they get silverware. But certainly we saw Haaland be reasonably quiet against Man United in the derby. We've seen him be reasonably quiet against Arsenal, who are top of the table. So maybe against those top teams, we have yet to see him really be that level. But some players are clutch players. Like there's always that debate of like a Drogba versus Henry. Do you want someone that's a clutch player, an Origi for you maybe, that's going to pick up crucial goals, or do you want someone that's an Henry who's just going to get you consistent goals? And that's the debate. But he's a fantastic striker, but wasn't a huge presence on the pitch today.
No, he wasn't. Didn't have many big highlights from the game. Haaland was garbage, says Travarelli in the comments. This super chat here, big up to you for sending it in. Fluke, he says Sambi really isn't good enough, referring to Lokonga obviously. Now didn't start the game, came on at half time, as you mentioned. He replaced Thomas Partey, which I think was a game-changing moment. But there was a moment towards the end where Odegaard commits a foul and he looks round and no one's pressing with him. You obviously want to hunt in packs. At that stage of the game, you want to be on the front foot pressing. How long is he an Arsenal player for? I mean, is that harsh to say?
Till the end of the season for me. Okay. I think... with the likes of us bidding for Caicedo that we've heard today, there's talks of Rice being really sold on the project. I mean, I think he's living on very, very borrowed time. I don't know if you saw the All or Nothing documentary.
I did, with Eddie.
But that moment that really showed the difference. Both two players at that time, for anyone that hasn't seen it, Lokonga's complaining about his lack of game time, and Eddie tells him to get his head out of his backside, basically, and focus on football. And they were both not starting.
He said, what makes you special?
Yeah, what makes you? There's a lot of players that's not playing. You've got to earn it. And now look where Eddie is, and now look where Lokonga is in terms of football pecking order. So I think there's a mentality issue there for me. And with regards to him and Fabio Vieira, they both really don't want to get involved in the physical side of the game. And even if you're not a rough and tough player, Ødegaard is not a rough and tough player, but he'll fight for every single ball. He'll challenge where he can. Zinchenko is not really a rough and tough player, but he'll battle for the ball where he has to and where he can. And Lokonga and Vieira just seem so reluctant to get involved in any sort of physical battle, and it's just that does not work for the Premier League.
Yeah. In the gym, I think. 3 words.
100%. They need the Leon Goretzka Bayern Munich training program, I think.
Glow up. Shout out to Expressions, by the way. He's in the chat. Big up my brother, Nick, Gang Business, and the Scouse Jim Kerry, too. Do you know what? No one's ever called me that, but I love that name. Jim Kerry. He's actually got the same birthday as me as well,
Does
Jim
he?
Kerry, yeah.
Same characters, you and him?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Facially, yeah, we do a lot of faces. Whenever I do a face, my mum says, it's going to stick, that face, one day. But there you go. Big up to Expressions, my G. Every single time, big up. Jack says, Sambi and Vieira are average at best, move them along. Maybe, and again, I don't like to talk down on players, they're professional footballers, they've got feelings like the rest of us, and we should think about that. But at the same time, fair to say that about Sambi, but Vieira, I think, has got a big future ahead of him, and he doesn't strike me, like you say, as a player that is flying into tackles, you know, is a dirty player, perhaps, as we've seen other Arsenal midfielders be like a bit more like a Roy Keane or Patrick Vieira. You're not going to get that with Fabio Vieira, but technically on the ball, this guy's a baller.
The thing is with Fabio Vieira, he has done enough in certain games to show us. He scored a great goal against Bournemouth. He scored against Oxford. I know it's only Oxford United. Sorry, he didn't score. He got 2 assists against Oxford. We have seen him in some cup games turn up. He's had a couple decent Europa League performances. For Sambi, I've seen him have one good performance so far this season. That was the first Europa League game I think we played, and even then, that was against like Bodo Glimt or someone of that sort of level. But, you know, and he's been here longer, you know. Vieira's just got here. Lokonga's had a couple of seasons to really show what he can do, and he just isn't showing it. And like I say, that clip of him kind of stropping and complaining and all that kind of stuff, it really goes against him with regards to his attitude, because if you're not performing on the pitch, we can't really see you complaining in the media or anything like that for lack of game time. Do you know what I mean?
Ridwan in the comments, Saka was horrendous, he says. What did you make of Saka's performance tonight?
I thought Saka was quiet. I think that Saka for the last few... First of all, him and Martinelli both need to be rotated, right? They've both played an insane amount of minutes so far this season, and they need a rest as much as anybody. The two of them and Gabriel have played the most minutes for our club so far this season. I think that Saka has been quiet for a couple of games. You know, even against United, he wasn't really beating Shaw. He wasn't taking him on. He isn't that player consistently to take people on one-on-one. Like I say, he's more of a link-up player, play cute 1-2s, movement off the ball. He gives you a lot off the ball, and he gives you some defensive work as well. But he was quiet today. There's no doubt about that. I think with Saka, he's been so consistent for the last 2 or 3 years. When he has a couple of quiet games, you have the confidence that he can bring it back. But he needs to be rotated. He needs to be... It's why we need the squad. It's why we need signings. You know, we've got Trossard in, but we can only drop one of the wingers for Trossard, and naturally he's on Martinelli's side. Who is there? You know, if we drop Saka, and not drop is the wrong word. If we rotate Saka, we're bringing in Marquinhos, and that drops us down a couple of levels as well. So this is why it's so important to get these signings over the line. You know, but I do think it's probably fatigue for Saka at this point.
Eden in the chat, Arsenal will win the league, he says. Champions League is up for grabs. Even Chelsea and Liverpool has a chance. Chin up, AGT. Things will get better. Still hoping for better days. Sambi is too pedestrian, offers nothing, says RD Holyfield.
Yeah, like you say, I think you've got the technical side of the game, which he's not showing. That can be match fitness, not getting the minutes, whatever the case may be. But then you've got the physical side of the game. And if somebody's struggling, you want to see them at least battling for challenges and, you know, showing the mental side, pressing. And you, in life, in football and in life, you can only control what you can control,
there
right?
You go.
And you can't control what you can't control. He can control pressing. You know, he can control, you know, dodgy first touches or whatever. Everyone makes a mistake. But in terms of the pressing, in terms of the attitude, just not getting that across on the pitch. So when the performance is bad, we're not even seeing enough work rate to kind of bypass that.
That's 13 wins in 14 games now for Man City against Arsenal in their last 14 games. They did win tonight. A very good goal from Nathan Ake. A small deflection on it from Saliba as it goes in. Again, probably came out on top against Saka. But City as well, they've lost John Stones tonight. Injured, came off, I think it was his hamstring at half-time.
I mean, you say lost John Stones. They've got Laporte on the bench. They've got Diaz on the bench. They've got Kyle Walker on the bench. They've got João Cancelo on the bench. They've got 4 players that can play that position without dropping, and crucially, without dropping the level massively, or someone that they can change the game plan and actually keep the same level if they play maybe slightly differently. For us, if we take someone out of our starting 11, the drop-off is pretty big at the moment.
He's not had much luck with injuries, John Stone, recently. He's just come back from one and looks like he might be down on the old injury table again.
We got the same thing with Smith Rowe. He wasn't involved tonight because of injuries as well, and he's somebody that we're going to need for the second half of the season massively.
Yeah.
I'm hearing that this particular injury is a small one. It's not connected to the major injury.
Can't be good for, but that mental fortitude that you need to get yourself back. You do that, and then it's
the thing
like
is,
Luis Diaz as well.
That's when you start to see people pulling out of challenges a little bit more, even if it's a shot. If it's Smith Rowe, it's mental. Yeah, if the big defender's coming across to block a shot, does he smash his foot through it the same way that he would before? It does affect you mentally. It takes a lot of hard work to get back to where you were.
Freedom Vlog FC says Arteta cost us the match. A little bit harsh, maybe.
I think that is harsh because I'll tell you why. I agree with you in part because I think that the match, had he made different decisions, I think the match is very winnable. So I agree with you in that sense. But I disagree with you in the sense that we had ample opportunities ourselves as a team, as the 11 players out there, to go and win that game. There were plenty of opportunities for us to win the game, whether we're not playing the ball through quick enough, whether we're not pressing. The goal itself was very avoidable. Yep. So I think that there's an element of, I wouldn't say he's cost us the match, but he will take an element of blame for that, as, by the way, he always does when he loses. He doesn't make mistakes. That's not me going at Klopp, by the way. I'm just saying, make excuses.
It is now.
It's not him making excuses. I'm just saying.
I didn't even think that before.
Just saying. He mentioned Wenger, so the gloves are off.
Oh, right. So it is about Klopp. Right. Fair enough. Did Arteta make the right choices tonight? We've just put a poll up. I'm going to go... Actually, I meant to say no. I click yes. So we'll have to take off a % maybe at the end. But let us know in the comments. That poll is now live. By the way, 2,000 of you right now. Please make sure, guys, that you're liking the video as you join us on DR Sports. It does help us. And we have just also, by the way, past 250,000 subscribers on YouTube. So big up to you at home each and every time. A good landmark for DR Sports to get to, man. That's very impressive. So obviously thanks to you guys for making it happen. Haaland pocketed by Gabriel, says Saksham. We mentioned that it wasn't Haaland's best performance. He normally does his best work at the end of a move, where he's tapping it in or heading it in or whatever. Arsenal didn't really allow City to find him in those spaces tonight, which you have to give the defence a bit of credit for.
There wasn't much, there wasn't a huge amount of creativity coming from out wide. Mahrez, when he did get the ball, he was looking mostly for the goal. There weren't like many crosses coming into him from wide. The one time a cross came into him, it was Kevin De Bruyne, who had gone all the way out of position to overlap. There was no Foden, who provides some creativity, although I prefer Foden in a 10. They do play him out wide. Grealish and Mahrez are both kind of cut-in players, as opposed to byline and cut the ball back or whip across in, and that's why they're restricted to go in straight through. But for me, I think Gabriel did a good job today. But I think it was Saliba. Once Saliba came on for Holding, that made a massive difference. Straight away you could see the physicality, you could see the tackles going in, and he just wasn't allowing himself to get bullied. He did all the same work that Rob Holding did, by the way, but he just did it a lot cleaner at a higher level. And I think that's the difference.
By the way, we are getting some news just coming into us now that Moises Caicedo, as we know, subject to a bid today of 60 million from Arsenal, he has handed in a transfer request on Instagram.
Yes.
This is the world that we're living in, people. Players are now going to Instagram.
Anthony Gordon's gone to Newcastle from submitting a transfer request. It can happen.
On Instagram? I don't think so. Let me read it out to you right now. This is 9 minutes ago, people, right? This is fresh off the press. And he's quoted himself on he's put speech marks. He's saying Moses as if we didn't know what his name was. And then it's speech marks. Hang on, I'm confused because the way he's talking, it's almost like he's left the club already.
Yeah.
He says, and I quote, because it is in quotation marks, I'm grateful to Mr. As soon as you say that, that's I'm off.
Yeah, it's
Thank you
over.
for the memories.
It's over. Yeah, if you said that to your missus, you're definitely breaking up. When
Thanks for the memories. You know what's coming next. I am grateful to Mr. Bloom and Brighton for giving me the chance to come to the Premier League, and I feel I've always done my best for them. I always play football with a smile and with heart. I'm the youngest of 10 siblings from a poor upbringing in Santo Domingo in Ecuador, so he's playing on the heartstrings here. My dream always is to be the most decorated player in the history of Ecuador. So, bit of a weird paragraph there. I am proud to be able to bring in a record transfer fee for Brighton, which would allow them to reinvest it and help the club continue to be successful. The fans have taken me into their hearts, and they will always be in my heart. So I hope they can understand why I want to take up this magnificent opportunity. So where are you going? Is it Chelsea, Arsenal? Come to Liverpool if you want for a cheaper price.
How much has he been watching the Mudryk saga? I think players have learned from the Mudryk saga and are trying to make sure.
Well, that didn't work, did it?
No, but I mean, he got the move, right? But he got the move to the second club that he wanted. But I think, you know, obviously there's a couple of clubs in. I heard that it's between us and Chelsea is what I'm hearing, and you never really want to be up against Chelsea in a transfer battle. But I can't
mental. Believe that. I've seen it all now.
For us as fans of a club, right? And you can ask people in the chat this as well. Like, how much does this worry you about a potential future signing for your club? Because how long is it before they do the same thing to you? Yeah. Especially for someone like us, where we're a very, very big club, we're a top club, but we maybe not quite the top elite clubs if we're being realistic. So some people that are not from London or are not Arsenal fans or whatever, they may see a Real Madrid or a Bayern Munich as the pinnacle of football. You know, if you are really one of the top clubs, then maybe you don't worry about that. But does that worry you at all when you're going to make a signing?
Oh yeah, I mean, if it's as easy to just leave your club by doing a post like he's not even said, is he accepting the Chelsea, the Arsenal deal? I am the youngest of 10 siblings from a poor upbringing. You've done very well in your life if that's the case. My dream is always, I don't get that bit. It's almost like saying there's a lot of money on the table.
Yeah, I was going to say
a big pay rise.
I was going to say
Please, I'm taking it. Let me go.
Yeah, and I mean
it's like the X Factor there. It's like,
well, apparently he's not on a huge. I was going to say
my nan's cat died 2 years ago.
I was going to say
I
don't empathise that much because all these guys are multi-millionaires. But to be fair, that might not be true for Caicedo because I was reading that his wages aren't huge.
Yeah, I mean it's more than ours.
No, of course, but by football standards, it's about like 8k a week or something like that.
Which
is not
8 to 10,
which is £500,000 a year. So he's not broke.
Tax though.
But it's not the same as what maybe other professional footballers are on. But that's mental, isn't it? That's crazy.
Believe?
That's crazy.
But now we're seeing a super chat coming in from the Football Artificial Intelligence, which sounds very posh. The FAI. Caicedo didn't do that Instagram. It's doctored.
I hope so.
This is
I hope so.
This has totally thrown me seeing that.
Has it been deleted now? Is it a deleted post or what?
Someone else saying it's a hoax, AGT, but then someone saying that's crazy, not going to lie. No way has he posted that. Ha ha ha. Says Al Guapo. He pinned a photo of him at the Emirates as well. Caicedo moving mad. Guys in the comments are as confused as I am.
Yeah,
PM says it's a red flag for me, which I agree with.
Yeah, it's a bit mental, isn't it? I mean, yeah, maybe a 2 or 3 year contract. The problem is that we need him especially after Partey went off at half time, and we don't really know whether that's an injury or whether that was tactical. If that's tactical, terrible tactics from Arteta, by the way. But I'm assuming that's some sort of knock or precautionary injury.
Yeah.
We do need midfield reinforcements.
Or is he being a bit clever to get this deal over the line? Al Guapo says, AGT, that post is indicating he has already got a done deal. Not handing in a transfer request. I think Chelsea have come in for him. Again, we don't know. know.
The thing is, with Chelsea in the transfer market, you just don't know anything. Nothing is certain. Me or you could be at Chelsea next week. Who knows?
Hopefully not, but I'll go.
Who knows?
I can't believe that.
Thanks to DR Sports. But the youngest of 4 siblings.
Oh, wow. Arsenal should bid 60 mil plus Lokonga for Caicedo, saying Simon. Can we get some kind of... because I'm getting people saying it's fake, Yol will start crying once it does not happen from Big Stepper. Can we get some kind of clarification on the authenticity of that? I mean, to do it as well, just after an Arsenal game, he must have been watching that.
He probably is, yeah.
I mean, the whole footballing world watches games when there's no other games on.
In the chat.
I'm so confused with all of this.
Shout out to all the younger siblings. Shout out to all the younger siblings as well,
You'd be having at least a nice holiday out of this, or a couple of watches or whatever. Go to his Instagram. Fabrizio tweeted it. It's not fake. It's on his Twitter too. It's actually a message from him. Fab reposted it. So it is true then. What? I mean,
where's he going?
What is the world coming to when you can just jump on Instagram and do that? But apparently, go to his Instagram. He's pinned a pic and tagged Emirates, mate. If he's doing all this.
The thing is, after what we saw, I'm so wounded now from what we've seen in the past. I don't trust that.
Yeah, you can't.
I don't trust that he's done all this.
In on this
yeah,
yet.
I don't trust that
he has, look. So when did he pin that? That is the question. It's a picture of him.
It's an old picture though, right?
From because April last year, so almost a year.
Yeah, it's an old picture because Kukurea is in the picture, so...
And obviously he has won at the Emirates this season as well, by the way, in the League Cup.
Give it a like.
With Brighton, I'll give it a like. I just can't believe this. I can't believe he's pinned that. That must mean he's going.
But where's the other pin picture? Where the second pin picture?
Is Ecuador. Fair enough.
Okay, and then the next one, go to the next one because that's the statement.
Yeah. Oh, he's definitely going to Arsenal.
And Pippa's in the comments.
Pippa's already in the comments. There's 2,500 comments, 18 minutes ago, 30k likes.
Caicedo or not, and obviously if you can put this out of your minds, I want to ask some of the people in the chat, especially those that are Arsenal fans, would you prefer Caicedo or Onana? Because that's the Onana. Because that's the.
I think I think he said he'll stay at Everton.
Yeah.
Listen, he's another player that will go eventually, but
yeah, for sure.
I mean, in that statement that we've just read out, and again, he quotes saying that he's thankful to Mr. Bloom, the chairman of Brighton. He goes on to say he wants to become the most decorated player in the history of Ecuador, which again, amazing. But then to pin that as well tells you where he's going, does it not? He's pinned him at the Emirates.
Listen, nothing tells me where anyone's going until he's here.
But surely.
No, not surely. I'm not having that. I'm not having after what Mudryk did. I'm not going to lie. I'm not.
Because he's got a picture of his girl here. His lovely girlfriend. He's not pinned that, has he?
Yeah, I mean, but she takes the money, not makes it. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not.
Jeez.
No, but I'm just saying. You know what I mean? You're gonna put the money, the things that make you money, at the top of your Instagram. Do you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
What's your first picture on your Instagram?
Me on Sky Sports.
There you go.
And me with Stormzy.
There you go.
But I'm not out here going, Robbie, you've been brilliant. I've had a call.
I'm saying the things that are going to generate you the cash are at the top of the.
I suppose so, but
you know
still.
I mean? So it's just one of those.
I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
I cannot believe what I'm seeing. I mean, even in Liverpool chat groups, WhatsApps, I'm getting Chelsea or Arsenal then. Even Liverpool fans reckon it's Chelsea, heard it's Newcastle, please be us. Arsenal, United and Chelsea don't have...
It's weird, because if the deal's already done, that just throws up more questions than answers. That doesn't actually answer anything.
Surely the social teams now at Brighton, Chelsea
Panicking.
and Arsenal are going, shit, we better react to this, because...
Nah, I mean, if it's not your club, then you don't want to react to it, do you? Because then you just look a fool. Do you know what I mean? You can't have Arsenal, after a 1-0 loss at the Etihad, tweeting bloody Ecuador flags.
It would go mad, though.
Hey?
It would go mad, and it's a good way to distract.
No, it's not. No, because if he doesn't go to Arsenal and then he goes to Chelsea or Newcastle, it would be a double whammy. People go ballistic.
But surely this is wrapped up. I mean,
yeah, but
not
not to Arsenal, like not necessarily to Arsenal. If I'm him, where am I going? I'm going to Arsenal if I'm him.
Sure. I just can't get around the timing of it, the openness of it, the fact he's quoted himself, the pin picture.
We have good relations with Brighton. We've done a bit of business with Brighton in recent years, you know.
So have Chelsea, though.
Not good business.
Lot of business.
No, we've done good business with Brighton. We take players.
We take the whole scouting team and the manager.
We take players from Brighton and make them top players. I can't speak to Chelsea doing the same. So.
It is wild that he's done that. I'm sorry if I keep going on about it.
That is mental. There's no doubt. I mean, the January transfer window is something else.
Your transfer request from DR Sports to... I'm not even going to say who they are. Another sports broadcaster. But no, absolutely not. DR Sports for life, baby. Fabrizio apparently hasn't said which club. So I guess he's just jumping in on the likes at this
That's
point.
That's what Fabrizio does.
Yeah.
He's damaged his reputation with Arsenal fans.
Apparently he also follows Chelsea. Do you know what? I feel like a crazy ex-stalker that's going on everyone's Instagram.
January transfer windows are just mental because they have so much, especially when you're top of the table, because they have so much actual tangible difference to what could potentially happen right now. Do you know what I mean? Not just hypotheticals for the season ahead. So, you know,
AM has said Chelsea will pay him and his 10 siblings.
they will, yeah, 100%. 100%.
Sister needs a new house. Sweet. Consider it done.
Get the sister in the women's team. I mean, they'll sign them. They'll do something. 100%.
He doesn't follow Liverpool. Sorry, AGT, says Agent E. Thanks for breaking it to me, my friend. AGT to Manchester United. Here we go, says Man United fan base. Absolutely not. Never. I had someone in my DMs today basically sending me all examples of when I've been biased to United. Big up to you, though, for spending that time, man.
Yeah, that's great. That's what you want.
Prem Ready. Big up super chat time. If he is going to Arsenal and we end up stealing Chelsea's target, who would have supplied their signing of our target? There you go, says Prem Ready.
All's fair in love and war, innit? I mean, but the thing is with this one, it's like Mudryk was more of an unknown than Caicedo. Caicedo's playing in the Premier League.
He's only been there for a year, though.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying he's in the Premier League. Everyone's talking about him. Do you know what I mean? It's a much more high-profile player. But there you go. You know, the wages speak volumes, don't they?
Well, this is the thing. What you don't want to happen, and I guess, listen, he's made it very clear that he is leaving no matter what. But what you don't want to happen now, if you are an Arsenal, you've put a bid in today. It's been very public. You've lost tonight. He's come out and said that. The pressure is now almost on Arsenal to get this deal over the line, whereas Chelsea were just snooping around anyway.
Oh, I mean, but we don't know any of that to be true. We know that Arsenal put a bid, but we don't. I mean, you know, Chelsea often.
But they've put the latest bid in, and I know that Chelsea can go right. Well, just 20 more mil.
Exactly.
But if you're Arsenal, I think the pressure's on Arsenal to get this over the line now.
Listen, the pressure's not on us because when you can't compete in the transfer market. The thing that I have to keep explaining to people is that we can't compete in the transfer market for players. We have to find the players that fit our system and fit our style and do what we can to buy them. But we can't compete against Chelsea because there is no number that we can blow Chelsea out of the water for. It's just, you know, it's correct. What Chelsea would then allow us to do is to drive up the price that we don't want to pay for a player to remove funds from elsewhere that we would spread around the pitch. So Chelsea could keep pretending they're going to pay 80 so that we pay 90 and they were never going to pay 80 in the first place.
AGT from Cop TV to Magpie Channel. Matty Renton is about to make the announcement. Here we go. Big up to you, Tendy item. Caicedo would be so good. Need to see an update soon. Maybe it's an already done deal, says Shane as well.
Shane, we reckon there's a deal done, but we just don't know where
But surely
to.
the club would want to announce it before he would on his Instagram. No? That's the other thing I'm confused about.
What I would expect is for the player to do that. What I would expect is that there's some negotiation from the player's perspective. A bid has come in that the player deems maybe fair and accurate. Maybe that, and that's not how
football works.
I know that's why it's crazy. So obviously from his perspective, he's going on a minute. You bought me for 10, 15 million. You got an offer for 60, 70
they
million.
Bought him for 3.5.
There you go. So from his perspective, he's doing it. He's saying you're
going to let me go.
Yeah,
that's what he's saying.
He's probably saying to them, listen, you agreed to let me go because most clubs do this, right? They'll say we'll let you go if we get a reasonable price.
And he's like, no.
And he's like, this is a reasonable price. But this is a reasonable price. Yeah. So you're making 20 times profit on me.
We want more.
Of course they can.
And then you become.
But that's what leads you to here.
Or is this another Peter Odemwingie moment?
No, players actually want this
where
guy.
He turns up at London Colney, arm out the window, offside, and then he's at Chelsea, or he goes back. What happens now if he goes back to? I can't say go back to Brighton because he's still there. But what happens now if he doesn't?
He might not be.
He
might not be. He could be. He could be.
Have to delete that.
He could be with his missus at a restaurant in North London right now. That could be the case.
Probably not far from here.
Exactly.
I don't even know if I can talk about the game now after I've seen that.
That's mental. I mean, the things that you've got to do in football to get your move, you know, because he probably wouldn't have been thinking when he made that £3.5 million transfer move that there would be a 60, 70 million pound bid for him.
I'm just refreshing his page to see if it's gone yet. Matisse in the comments now going, well. You know what that means? He's snooping. The likes, this is maybe his most engaged post. Oh no, it's still, but the way it's going, it could be his most engaged post on his Instagram.
Minutes.
25 minutes, 4,000 comments, 50,000 likes pretty much. I mean, even that's gone up.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm sure that's gone up in the last hour, his actual followers as well.
100%.
It's like he's been on Love Island. Unbelievable. Good player, as we know, but the first question is obviously, if it is true that you've bid 60 mil, I mean, is he even worth that? The market that we're in, we know the prices are inflated, but to go above that, now it becomes a bidding war between you and Chelsea.
Yeah, I don't like getting into bidding wars, not my money. I don't like getting into bidding wars, especially with people that, like Chelsea, who are reckless with their money. I would much rather go into a bidding war with City, who have a set structure and don't don't typically overpay, where Chelsea tend to pay ridiculous money. And do you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather compete with a club similar to us that has a set strategy and stuff like that. And we've seen many one-season wonders in the Premier League going and spending £60 million on a player. And yeah, I mean, there's obviously it's about how you manage these players. Mitri, he had a couple seasons. I say one-season wonder.
Amizaki.
Yeah, that's more of a one-season wonder. But £60 million on a player that's one season is pretty. Yeah. That's like buying Martinelli this summer after we bought him for 60-70 million pounds.
Yeah,
that's mental.
It's just the prices of these players now. I mean, for him to do that, I mean, what's his agent said to him as well? By the way, what has his agent said? Go on, it's all sorted. Do the post.
100. His agent's probably written that post.
Yeah,
100%. According to FA rules at the moment, you can take a maximum of 5% wages. I mean, if you look at what he'll be on at Brighton versus what he'd be on at Arsenal, as a starter at Arsenal, I mean, it'd be easily 100k.
You reckon?
He's like, I think minimum 80, 90k.
For the big I know a lot was made about Eddie's contract getting to 100k, which I don't think is that wild. When you think someone like
minimum
James
80k,
on
minimum 70, 80k. That's $4 million a year.
No, yeah, I'd agree with that. But again, Chelsea, do you want that or do you want 100?
No, but I'm just talking about like the jump from an Arsenal or Chelsea from Brighton. Do you know what I mean? That's 20 times what
his agent is winning though.
100%.
Tonight he is having a party, trust me.
100%.
And they know how to party in Ecuador, let me tell you that. Not that I've been, from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Big up to everyone in the comments. Caicedo, please block every Chelsea social media, please, says Sheets of Metal with a super chat. Matisse, my brother, he's on the case. AFTV are even in the chat right now talking about Caicedo. LJ Brown says, Matisse is the little finger of YouTube content, guys. Do you know what? Matisse is putting out so many videos right now, so big up to him, man. The work rate's crazy. My G. He'll end up at Chelsea. It's going to be another hijack, says Bad Boy Scope. Maybe Bowley comes in and drops 100 million for Caicedo, says Anton C. That could happen as well.
That's why I wouldn't do a bidding war against Chelsea.
I'm not sure if you heard this, but when Abramovich sold the club, or relinquished the club, if you like, to Bowley, apparently he said you've got to spend 1.5 bill in the first 18 months. And let's say if this is 75 or above, we're talking about just under half of that spent already.
Yeah.
In 8 months.
In terms of getting the loyalty of the fans, or what?
In terms of, he just said, this is what you've got to spend to get us back up, 1.5. This is what you have to invest in the next 18 months.
I think a lot of that is also buying time, buying the fans' kind of loyalty to buy time for if things don't go that well. Because the one thing you can't criticise him for is not backing the manager. Now, whether everyone in the club is on the same hymn sheet and everyone's on board with the same, because a lot of these signings to me are not Graham Potter signings, but I mean, Caicedo's Graham Potter signing, so that's a bad example, but do you know what I mean?
Literally was that.
But yeah, I mean, it's pretty, I guess that speaks volumes about the player if a manager's willing to spend 60-70 million on him, having paid 8 million for him.
But is there also if it does turn into a bidding war, you've put the bar at, because am I right in saying there's not been any official bids for him apart from you two so far?
Not that's been reported, no, it's just us.
So and Chelsea will know how much he's really worth, and they'll know how much they're going to pay if they do.
And they should also know from Potter how much Brighton are willing to accept.
Yeah,
right? They should know.
What I was going to say is they should all. Is there not a point where they also think, well, hang on, we know he's not worth this, so why are we in this bidding war? Is it just for the?
I think it's twofold. Of we need a player that can replace the Jorginho and Kantes that are running out of contract, and we want Arsenal are doing quite well at the moment. It's a double whammy of taking away a target from them potentially.
Ian Henry with the super chat. Ian Henry Gunnery, $5.99. Thank you very much for that, mate. It goes straight back into the channel, as you guys know. If you can support, please do. Chelsea surely will be found out for fraud soon. Just look at Juventus.
The problem is it's not fraud. I hope they do, but the problem is it's not fraud. It's a tactic to get around financial fair play with the length of contracts that they're putting people on, and how they can
backdate their FFP as well. So obviously they were banned. Was it 2 windows they were banned?
Yes.
For? Yeah. So they can say, well, we didn't spend anything that time. So with this big lump, we can spread this across the. It's mad. You can backdate it.
Yeah.
What is this? EMAs.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, job seekers allowance.
Big up.
It's mental, isn't it?
This is the Premier League and we have no debt, says Eden. Ask that to Manchester United fans. Abramovich probably behind the scene giving Todd all this money, says Don Arsenal TV. And Chelsea going to get relegated for FFP violations.
I would love that to happen. It's not realistic and not going to happen, but I would absolutely love that to happen.
This is a good question. AGT, whose twerked transfer request was the best? Mudryk, Gordon or Caicedo?
I think Mudryk is the twerk champion, I think.
He was giving it some.
Yeah, because it was for one club over a prolonged period of time. Caicedo's just said he's going. He said, "Cheers, lads! I'm out the door. We don't know who to." And Gordon
he skipped the twerking stage.
Yeah,
really.
Gordon. He just went to sex on the first date. And Gordon again didn't really necessarily say he wanted to go to Newcastle. He just said, "I want to get the hell out of here."
Yeah, I'm just not.
I'm not playing here. I'm not coming to work.
I
exactly.
Think his head totally went when the fans were surrounding his car. I don't know if you saw this video.
I did see that. Yeah,
they did it to Mina as well, and they went up to Gordon throwing coins at his car and stuff like that.
I'm trying to think of how
his head's gone.
I'm trying to think of how I can laugh and sound empathetic at the same time. But yeah, it's both
ideal,
it's both serious and a little bit hilarious at the same time. But yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
It's happening to you.
It's not going to happen. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough one, isn't it? The thing is, with going to a player and stuff like that, football clubs are large, complex organisations. It's never just one player. You know, there's nothing you can do. If we're struggling for form, if we all go and surround Xhaka's car, there is no...
He'd probably get out, though.
But he probably would. But there's no permutation of words in the English language we can put together that's going to turn things around. That's not how football works.
Once that's happened...
Believe that he's trying to do the best that he can, and that's just... Do you know what I mean?
Well, he's hardly been playing for Everton as well. He's been on the bench. Maybe
they should have taken the bid from Chelsea previously.
60 mil. Wasn't it Tottenham?
I can't. No,
I think it was Tottenham.
Nah, it's got to have been Chelsea. 60 mil for Anthony Gordon.
In the summer,
60 mil for Anthony Gordon is a proper Chelsea signing. I can't stand Tottenham, but there's no way. There's no way they were doing that. No, X would have blown a gasket if that's the way they were spending money.
I genuinely thought it was Tottenham.
I'm pretty sure it was Chelsea.
And now they've taken a 40 million. Yep. I mean, even that. It's absolutely mad. Let's just round off the game then. In the end, it was a 1-0 victory for Manchester City. As I said, 8 years in a row now. They go through to the 5th round. Probably favourites to win it at the stage. If I'm honest, Arsenal huffed and puffed and had a few strong chances but couldn't get it over the line.
We don't need it. We've won 4 of the last 9 FA Cups. We're on to bigger and better things. Best of luck, Manchester City. And that game, that performance...
4 out of 9?
4 out of 9, yeah.
You love that stat.
I do, yeah. And
who won the last one? Cheers. No worries.
No, it's all good. I can't remember. Some team that disappeared off over the horizon afterwards. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I think that Arsenal can take huge amounts of positives, huge amounts of credit for that game. And I think going into the league game at their ground again, we know that we don't have to worry about Haaland too much. We know that we can deal with him.
It was like a little.
It was a good warm up, and I think it's a better warm up for us. And they have not come to the Emirates. I think that we beat them at the Emirates. And I've said before on one of my match reaction videos on my channel, but I said before that if I believe that if we can get 4 points out of the 2 Man City games, I believe we win the league. So I believe we need to win at the Emirates. That will put us, with a game in hand, if we can win our game in hand and we win at the Emirates, we'll be 11 points clear.
Do you know what? I'm still getting used to Arsenal potentially winning the
11
league.
Points clear. And then all we have to do is draw at the Etihad. And that's it.
And maybe win at Anfield.
Yeah, maybe win it.
There you go then, guys.
Demon, but there you go.
Right, a lot has happened in this video, if I'm honest. We've, of course, reacted to Manchester City beating Arsenal 1-0 thanks to a Nathan Ake goal. And we've also reacted to Caicedo's Instagram post. One more check to see if it's still there.
If Caicedo's at Arsenal when we play at Anfield.
Oh, yeah, it's looking long.
Someone else.
Bro, he's just got 4K followers
in the last 10 minutes. It's all
That's
kicking
mental.
off. What about the likes on the post, the Brighton post?
55.
Yeah, it was on 42,000 before.
Because I keep checking
it's
it,
spreading
thinking,
like
surely he's
wildfire.
deleted that. Someone's hacked him, but
it's
no.
Spreading like wildfire.
It really is. So big up to
wait and see where he's going
Where
next.
will he end up? Let us know in the comments. Keep the chat going. Thank you very much for watching the show. It's been a good one. Myself, AGT, and Nick Francis. Big up to you for coming on, as always, my bro. And we will see you next time. Take care.
Peace.